Have your act together.
Okay.
I want to gather all these.
Are we ready to go? We can start? Okay. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry, we're running a few minutes late. We had to do a little more IT check to make sure we're up and running with all our equipment and everything's working in order. So I will call this meeting to order. And Pointer.
Here.
Julie Courtney.
Here.
Darcy Buckles. Mike Williams. Kathy Day.
Here.
Janet Bertol.
Kathy Day.
Trace McDonald and Jennifer Stosh are online.
Okay.
Sue Clark's online.
Karen Norrington Reeves. Joanna Green. Susan Flessner.
Joanna Green's online now. Sorry.
Susan Flessner. Pat Farah. LaDonna Russell.
Online.
Dana Washington.
Online.
Pam Ferlin.
Here.
Paula Knocktribe.
Paula Knocktribe online and Mark Lohman online.
Gary Chichu.
Here.
Steve Martin.
Here.
Al Anderson. Brian Hengsken. Robin McCoy.
Karen Allen for Robin McCoy.
Karen Allen.
Here.
Ann Schneider. Here. Mike Shear.
Here.
Vicki Lubrant.
Here.
Dave Stecklin.
Here.
Matt Jones. Nicholson. Kathy Lively.
Here.
Michelle Cerruti.
Kathy Lively for Michelle Cerruti.
Pam Barbie.
Online.
Do we have a quorum?
Looks
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
good.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, we have a quorum. Thanks and welcome to those of you joining from your offices. The second item on the agenda is approval of the July minutes, which were attached to the agenda when it went out last week.
So moved.
So moved. Second. Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. President's take a look at them. We are moving along in all of the areas, so I think that's a very positive sign. I think our retreats are always very helpful for us to do a kind of a check on where we are and where we want to go, and it's always nice to see that we're actually moving forward on these goals and can have some measurable results to share, and you'll hear more about that during the committee updates. I wanted to recap our meeting yesterday for those of you that weren't here. It was really I think an excellent meeting, and I was from the local alweas to appoint somebody or name somebody that would be this connect to work with, you know, from the WorkNet Center to the community, and so there'll be some ongoing initiatives around that. So. Services for the homeless and eventually get those folks into training in the workforce. We also had a presentation from David Boulay from the Manufacturing Extension Partnership. He sent an email before our meeting was over just thanking us for allowing him to come. I will forward that out to the membership on Monday because he sent the attachments, one of which was the MOU that the Manufacturing Extension Partnership did with the ICCB with all the community college systems. It's got a link to their manufacturing career, or just awareness day, manufacturing day in Illinois that's October 5th, or is that a national thing? I think that might be a national thing. And then some other information. So we look for that to be kind of an ongoing some dates down. He did have those emailed to me right after the meeting. Now, these are the IDES areas. I'm not sure how they overlap with our workforce areas, but I will be forwarding that email out on Monday, and Gideon is working on locations and time frames for the training. But right now, the business services trainings are going to be for Chicago, September 7th. Northwest region, September 24th and 25th, the Central region, September 26th and 27th, and the Northern region, September 27th and 28th. So again, he'll be sending out the exact locations and the times for this training. And again, he apologized profusely for the short notice, but we definitely want to be involved in this business services training. So it's very important to try to, free up members of your staff to attend this if at all possible. So he was very glad to share a lot of information with us yesterday. And I wanted to let you know that I did sit in on the NAWDP webinar around the campaign to invest in America's workforce. There's a lot of good information on the National Skills Coalition.org website, Save Our Skills campaign. There's a lot of resources. And it's a national campaign with a lot of partners, having a lot to do with just keeping that drumbeat on investing in the workforce system, certainly avoiding the sequestration, which of course Ron Painter's been very helpful in trying to explain really what that means, and I forwarded an email from him on all that. So you can advise your board so there's not a lot of misunderstanding about what this is important, this is why you need to fund us, this is how we contribute to the economy, and it's a really important message, and there's a lot of great materials out there, so I would highly suggest you look at the National Skills Coalition website and the Save Our Skills campaign. I also wanted to mention, in kind of partnership with IDES again, the state of Illinois is receiving a grant, I believe it's $750,000, on this UCX Claimants Initiative, which is, again, a campaign to reach out to veterans to more quickly attach them to the workforce rather than kind of waiting part of all the conference calls. There's 4 states that are getting this grant, and each state is designed to come up with a program that will then I will be attending, so I will either ask somebody to come and address us in November when we're in Chicago, because the workforce, the OEAs are a big part of this. So we need to fully understand what the plan is, how we are involved. A lot of this will probably be touched on in the business services training. So there's a lot of momentum right now. So I'll make sure that everybody, that we're updated in November. I also wanted to let everybody know we are working on the schedule for hotels that are, giving us the state rate, which is supposed to be published September 1st, so we're kind of waiting on that. So we hope to have that out, and we're trying to combine the agenda. Kathy will talk a little bit about that with, the virtual director's time and some of the other training that's going on, so you have one place to look for all the events for 2013 in one place. And lastly, I wanted to mention that, IWP did release an RFP for the staff position. we're going to move forward with a couple of phone interviews. So we hope to have some information for you in October when we do the virtual director's time. So we'll keep it. That concludes my comments. We don't have anybody from DCEO here as of yet, so we'll move on to the Secretary's report. Ann?
The only report is that the directories are out.
Okay.
And keep those changes coming.
There has been quite a few address changes, phone number changes, so please take a look at that directory. And, you know, if you do distribute things to IWP, the membership group, please update your distribution list. Okay, Steve, Treasurer's report, please.
I've handed out a total fund balance $173,123. As far as dues that have came in, we have 2 LWIA still left to pay their dues, and 1 check is on the way. So that's all I had.
Or in addition to those 2?
Huh?
In addition to those?
So if there are no other questions, I move to accept the Treasurer's report as is.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any opposed?
You should pass out also a profit and loss for the year.
We're going to table that until, and talk about it in exec next time.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Steve. We have 7 online that voted to approve, so Treasurer's report passes. Committee reports. Kathy Lively, to be specific.
Tri-chaired, which we need with all of the activities that we have going on. So sorry for the omission, Julie.
That's quite all right.
All right. I also want to thank everyone else who isn't normally able to participate in the programmatic committee during our regular meetings because you belong, your primary passion is strategic. And so we had our conference call and had lots of phone or with us today were part of that as well. Thank you very much for that. One of the key elements for our group is the professional development series that we want to continue to enhance. And so with that in mind, we are today proposing that we do a leadership training with a gentleman named Randy Gork. Kathy Day has been working with him. He actually sent us a little video clip. We had options of doing an instructional component where you would actually be able to do the work together and discuss, and then in that way bring perhaps more benefit to the training. So we decided to go with a webinar, and there's going to be one of them. And Kathy Day will continue to work with him at our urging about the leadership components, and we'll get that out to you guys. The DOL webinars that Julie Courtney's been working on, thank you, Julie, for all of that. It seemed as if the fiscal monitoring DOL webinar seemed to be the most pressing issue, and so that will be first. We'll be surveying our membership to find out exact questions that the field might have. This is not just for fiscal people because it's really about what DOL looks at when they come in and monitor. So it's really a much wider audience than simply fiscal people. So we encourage folks to participate. And the name of the gentleman, Julie, who will be doing that?
DeCilio?
Tom DeCilio. So we'll get all of that information out to you, I promise. And we'll stop for questions in a few minutes for the folks that are on the computer or on the phone. We also have been in conversation with 2 different people about offering frontline staff training, and I spoke with Beverly Ford this week and last week, and Beverly has not been doing national conferences for over a year now. That we're used to, the zippy, kind of zany, very full of energy person, has not been doing anything professionally since that happened. And so she's very excited to be working with us. She thinks that webinars are the way that she can continue to contribute. She's updating her materials. She told me that this whole effort has given her a lot of excitement again, and so we look forward to working with her. She's a wonderful person, and her 3 sessions that our group decided would be the most important out of the wonderful material she sent us, again, and we'll get all of this to you, is motivating the unmotivated. I assume they mean clients, although... Okay. Effective issues, but we felt that 3 sessions, given that we're already a quarter of the year into the year, would be enough. So we are very excited about that. IEDA, Carol Kulik was here yesterday, and IEDA is once again willing to partner with IWP to provide these trainings. The total cost for the Randy Gork leadership training, the DOL webinar training, and the Beverly Ford sessions will be $8,000. Or the commitment of $4,000 toward those training costs.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor for what Kathy just went through. Is there a second? Second. Those of you at home, if you can vote on your computer, all those in favor in the room, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll let you know.
We didn't have a polling pod set up for that, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, we didn't have a polling pod, so maybe you can just vote in the chat.
Does anyone on the line have any questions, though? I'll give you. Kathy Day just shared with us that the DOL fiscal monitoring training is the first of 3 or potentially 4. They'll be programmatic. They'll be
WIA governance.
They call it WIA governance.
Hopefully,
trade. And trade. So we're hoping to have 4 of those before the year's out.
So we had 9 yeses in the chat room, so motion is approved.
Great.
I just ask a question, and no vote's done, that's fine. But is there going to be a charge to the local areas for this?
We decided for this one there would be no charge to local areas.
For this whole series?
Correct.
Randy Gork? No.
For the whole series.
Okay.
Yes. So we felt this a discussion we need to have at our next meeting, perhaps. When it gets to the Beverly Ford piece, then perhaps we could charge a nominal fee for some of our partners, or not. I mean, but for our membership, there will be no fees.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think this is, something that we can also try to partner with IDES on if, some of
Correct.
these would be, so it's worth a further conversation, so.
But then we want to charge them.
We may want a slight fee structure, and maybe it's something that we work out at the highest levels where they partner with us, much as IEDA is, so that any of their case managers can join the webinar for a very nominal contribution, but at least it would then be or tri-sponsored, IEDA, IWP, and perhaps IDES. So, but for our membership, Pam, no cost.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The fiscal roundtable. And asking us questions when they're allowed to have question time in the roundtable. So part of our conversation on our webinar the other day and then with our committee yesterday was that we probably need to facilitate that meeting so that we can draw out more questions. And the other piece that we're going to be doing is that we're going to be creating a directory of fiscal folks. And in the directory, we're going to be surveying them. We're going to be asking things about how many years they've so that it can become a true tool for newer fiscal people to look for someone else who's using their same platform or who has more experience than they, so they can become better mentors. We thought it would happen accidentally, but fiscal people aren't mentoring accidentally, so we're going to try to encourage that. Do you have any questions or comments, or do you think that's a good idea, not a good idea? What?
Very good idea.
I think it's a very good idea.
Good idea? Yep. Okay, great. The orientation manual, we're revamping the orientation manual. Our website is so great now that many of the elements that originally were in the orientation manual are now already on our website. And we're hoping to get Mary Beth to do an actual video clip welcome instead of just paper welcome. So we're trying to move into that 21st century. Sue did volunteer to film. Keep it the first Friday of the month, much as our meeting would have been in October. So it will be Friday, October 5th at 9 a.m. And it also happens to be National Manufacturing Day. Maybe we can have some gears or something, I don't know. But so we'll get more out to you on the agenda. We'll be asking you for input into the agenda. And it may be that we'll have to actually declare it a meeting if we're going to be doing action items. So we'll just use this board. Yes, Kathy?
Cheryl asked you to ask a question of the membership regarding...
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Carol Kulik asked us to ask the membership a question about IETA, and the question was, as they kind of are finding a niche in helping us provide professional development, they also need to find a way to increase their membership again and get people engaged again. And so there was a question asked about whether it would be productive to charge a small there for you, and she wanted some feedback before she took it to the IETA board.
Would that cover how many individual, would then the area be a member and
Yes,
everybody would?
right. Yes, the area would be a member, and it would not be in the fee structure that IWP is at all. We're talking about kind of a collegial membership and a way to do it that's less cumbersome.
Something maybe Carol could provide us is what would be the value added. Obviously, we know the
do some kind of value-added statement so that we understand what the membership would actually equate to.
I think it's a good idea. So I want that said, but
all right.
It would be a great way to promote and get approval.
Wonderful, and we'll get back to her with that then. And anyone online who has suggestions or questions can post them, and we'll get that. Anyone?
Just a comment.
Well, there are a lot of people on that line who are talkers, and they're not talking. Oh, all right.
Well, you did get a great idea and a great job on the joint.
Great team and great group effort. So we'll plan on doing the conference call that you'll have, as Mary Beth referenced earlier, one place to look for all of the opportunities that IWP is providing you, in not just the physical meetings, but in the professional development, director's time, and all of that. So we're working.
You guys are. Thank you so much. Okay, Lisa Jones has joined us from DCEO. Lisa, could you scoot down 2 chairs, please, and in front of the little camera?
Smile, you're on candid camera.
Time for your close-up.
Yep.
Thanks.
Director Rao indicated that IDES was reviewing the MOUs. When will this be done and the MOUs signed? We're suggesting for the questions related to the MOU that IDES is doing that you contact Innovation Grant. you'd like an overview from us on what's going on with it. Oh shoot, I don't really want to read all this. DCO, we've been partnering with IDES and ICCB. As you know, our grant was $12 million for moving regional sector partnerships to scale in manufacturing. As a condition of their award, we're required to negotiate some elements of the project with DOL, and we're awaiting final approval and execution of our negotiated agreement. That explain the project that I guess were distributed at the last IWP meeting. It was the abstract and technical proposal. Those were submitted to DOL as part of our application. There's many components to the project outcome related to employers, higher retention rates, staff costs, number of days, job openings that remain unfilled, employer satisfaction, and those related to workers are higher retention rates and eligible adults and dislocated workers. Eligible RFA respondents are LWIBs or their designated fiscal agents on behalf of their partnership. They all actively participating, contributing in the RFA project design and development, as well as project implementation in geographic regions defined by the partners. Whew. Because this is a competitive process, we are unable to answer any questions at this time.
Question. Do you
Yes,
know when they're
ma'am.
going to be out, the RFAs?
They didn't say that, did they? Mm-mm.
It's a secret.
I guess it is a secret. It's top secret. I don't have the clearance for that information. All right. The 12 grants, when are they going to be processed? You guys know that John Barr is the new Ray?
No.
Oh.
Yes.
Cat's out of the bag now.
Just all over the world.
Regional rep position. It's not something.
Right now he is doing a lot of Ray's functions. That's all I know.
When's it effective? Okay.
Right now he's doing it.
Okay.
So I know that Chuck, I think they kind of split it up. I don't really know, so I shouldn't say. I just sit in my office and do whatever they tell me. I don't give it all.
Back for 75-day contract?
That is true.
Yeah.
Could you repeat that?
That Ray is back for a 75-day contract? Yes, that is right. He's helping do, I think he's working mainly on the consolidation for the Cook County partnership. And I am on the record, so I'm not going to, like, stirring up whatever trouble we can.
It wouldn't be right if he wasn't.
Well, that's exactly right. Okay. So the staff is working to expedite the agreements through the department's grant approval process. It's anticipated that all grants will be issued within the next 2 weeks. So if you have any questions, you can contact Laura Dahm. Here's the reason for the delay. We just learned from the accounting office that LWIAs would be required to track admin costs at the CFD level for whatever GAAP is. Okay. Can you repeat that? Yes. The DCO accounting office informed us that the LWIAs would be required to track admin costs at the CFDA level. They're having some discussions about that. That is ridiculous. Because John gave some background that it's not required in the law.
John.
They said they had to do it for the WIA grants for some reason, but I don't know that they really
Break it out at the end of your, I never, how you do?
from the prior years to facilitate quarterly financial reporting. I don't,
But no, you do.
answers your question.
Out like you.
Anybody translate that that's got an accounting background?
Yeah, we,
By title, you have to charge it by title.
right, right.
Which is, I mean, again, that was the beauty of WIA, it was that all admin went into its own grant, and you didn't have to track it by
Right.
title.
Yeah. We did object to this.
Thank you.
But we were ultimately, and the so maybe there's not,
They're doing it at the state level.
Well, that's good. Is that like, never mind?
well,
Did you read all that to tell us never mind?
I might have, just like I read all that to tell you, I can't answer your question. I don't have the clearance for that.
Okay, that's,
I think I might have just read all that to tell you, never mind.
Lisa, could you start at the bottom of your notes?
Could you frighten us first?
You know, we're, some of us are old, and, yeah.
I'm right there with,
not the low.
yeah.
But nevertheless, the report.
This bureaucracy at its finest. I mean, wouldn't it have been much easier for me just to have said, hey,
Like I said,
started process them on the 31st, the holdup's been we had to change our yes, but we're moving on. I mean, I'm sure you're not all surprised about. On the sequestration, thank you.
Start at the bottom.
Okay. DOL doesn't know yet how they're going to implement it. How about that? And that was basically my answer.
All right.
Except I did add that we've heard, you know, it's for sure going to be 7.8%, but it could range up to as high as 18. Any other questions?
No questions from the folks?
Do you want me to email the short version or the extended version?
Whole thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Send it back.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, good to see you all.
next week.
See you in a few, when,
Okay, moving on to the Strategic Committee, Gary.
Recent strategic plan that our committee had been asked to address. And so yesterday we reviewed a draft communications plan that was put together by Bethany. There were some minor modifications suggested by the committee, and so she'll be revising that. We'll then be working with Robin and her committee just to finalize and tweak, and then we'll be sending that out to the full membership so you can have copies of that for then consideration, I think, Madam Chairwoman, at the November meeting. So that's where we stand with respect to that. We did have nothing new to report, as we all could gather on the legislative front. There is Workforce Development Week, we did talk a little bit about that. That was last week. I know up in Lake County we had an open house that had over 110 people. We thought it'd be a good idea for everyone if we could. I'll send out an email to the membership. If we can just, I don't know if Robin had received messages from anyone about what they did in their areas as part of that, but you know, if Robin wanted to use that as part of the annual report for the group, I think it'd be nice to have those activities that each of the workforce areas undertook during the last week, and at least help her project and getting back in contact with David Boulay about establishing an MOU between IWP and their group, just to kind of lay out the parameters of what our relationship should be. Again, as part of the communication plan, one of the things we talked about is building champions that can help forward our message, and having David Boulay and his group being one of those champions, I think would be very, very helpful and very appropriate. For some period of time. I think the last time was several years ago, but having an opportunity for them to get together via a webinar. We have not determined a date yet, but we want to reach out to the membership to see if they think that their board chairs would be open to that kind of a discussion. Again, maybe in their own local area, maybe later this year. So if there's anyone who sees that their chair probably would not want to participate, but we'll move forward with having that series, or at least that discussion established. The idea being, again, just having some open communication between the board chairs, starting that discussion about introductions, making sure people are kind of have an idea of what each of the other board chairs are doing, if anything, with respect to their activities, and helping grow that relationship between the boards, the program staff, and the board chairs. So that was what our discussion was yesterday. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to entertain those.
You did get a comment from Tracy. Arena. So we look forward to implementing that plan. So thank you, Bethany. And we did have a couple of comments from folks saying, yes, their board chairs would definitely participate in a webinar. I think that's something that, obviously trying to get all the board chairs in the state together for a meeting is a lot to ask for folks to give up time and travel and overnight stays and everything else. And it's just, but a webinar is highly possible. And I think a good way for us to, again, support our private sector folks and our workforce support. So thank you, Gary.
Just one other quick thing. As all of you know, Bethany, well, this should be hopefully her last meeting with us before she has her baby. Her son, she's expecting a boy, is due just early November.
Your November meeting, basically.
Yeah, right around.
Don't come.
Who knows? Chicago, maybe, in case we need some
The hospital's in Evansville.
some midwifing, something like that. So,
new IWP member.
Yeah.
Good. All right, thank you.
Conference calling.
Yes, webinar.
You can do it on the webinar. Maybe hospital room. Oh, we're here.
All right, Bruce, would you like to come and give us an update on the...
Send us pictures.
Uh,
All right, I need to listen to this. What's going on with performance?
Okay. The Performance Task Force met yesterday morning, and Neely from DCEO was there to give us some updates. She indicated that and they're going to issue a report that shows the data that includes the risk wages, and that will be coming out soon. She said the state did not exceed, they just met, but the average earnings were very high, so indicating that that could impact the negotiations. And they still do not know when they're going to start the negotiations for Performance Year 12. And they've been working on the annual report, and they will let us know when those negotiations in the state plan. She also talked about the measures for trade, which are not part of our formal performance measures, but they are going to be tracking those. And they do differ a little bit from our current measures in that the measurement for the trade outcomes don't begin until the first or second quarter, depending on when the customer starts employment. So the measurement starts when the TAA the individual is employed if that takes place in the second quarter, but they won't go beyond that. So that's kind of giving you 2 quarters for the individual to achieve the outcome, and then the subsequent measures will follow after that.
So after their TAA section is closed, 2 quarters after that is when they start?
No, they could start in the first quarter.
Have through the second quarter then?
Yes.
Get them back to
Yes.
us? Okay.
But if it happens earlier, they'll start.
But it happens to be when the TAA services end?
Right. Yes. As soon as you close your last TAA service, that's when the measure will be started.
Okay.
Neely also gave us some insight into a new exit policy that is going to be coming out. This policy addresses the case management service. Their file open. DCEO is now going to modify that to make that a same-day service, so that every time you provide what they consider to be one of those case management services, and there'll be a list of them, you have to open and close that service on the same day. And there has to be at least one of those services entered every 90 days, because a period every 90 days. She did also indicate that they were looking at something similar for supportive services, and we indicating that that could be rather cumbersome for the local areas, because there are a number of customers that receive, for example, a transportation payment every week, and if we had to open and close a supportive service every time they received a check, that could be very cumbersome. So she said she would take that into consideration in discussions, and they should be coming out with policy in the next few weeks, is what she indicated. And there was a question from one of the task force members on the trade customers who retire. Enter the workforce. Healy said that DOL has pretty much said that they are not going to address that situation, that we're pretty much stuck with having to deal with that in our performance. And with that, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them. Questions?
No questions. Thing is working well for you. I know
Yes,
we had about 16 people call in yesterday, so hopefully it's a lot of information to share, so thank you very much. All right, Galita Cosa IWIB update from the almost birthday, special birthday person coming up Saturday is special birthday.
I can count at Denny's.
So happy birthday in advance.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of the members.
Now I with a lot of announcements, and I will send the attachments to Mary Beth tomorrow to get out to the membership in advance. We also have a legislative committee meeting as well that same day, and I believe that starts at 11. We're down in beautiful southern Illinois. Galita meets the week after on September 20th and 21st. There are a new set of officers, I think some new direction from Galita. I think we're looking forward to a rather robust meeting. Mary Beth is going to be in attendance for us. Address that issue those who were at Heartland know that that was sort of the underlying theme. I don't know if the theme got the chance to move from underlying to the surface, but we are going to discuss that as well. It's something that's going to, I think, be addressed by a lot of organizations. The other thing is Goleta is interested in building strong state associations. Although we are 10 states, it's been my observation we have 5 or 6 that participate, and there's 4 that we don't even know who those folks are. Having some insight into Missouri as an example, Goleta's meetings happen to be the same time that their state organization meets, and so therefore that creates a problem for them. Indiana's another one. I think the young lady was there at the last meeting we had, but then subsequently I think she's retired and now somebody else will need to be approached. That goes along with where NOB's going as well, the National Association. Mary Beth has re-emailed, soon to retweet probably, the question and answer forum on the sequestration. I think it's a real good question and answer. It gives us a pretty good look. And in Mr. Painter's update to us, he pointed out that we're probably or what I call sequestration jeopardy. You know, it gives you pretty much the questions and answers that are important. One of the things that NOB's doing, and they did this, their call to action was sort of take a business member to Congress. They are emphasizing that need. It's one of the things the IWP has undertaken through the Legislative Committee as well. Director Rao and somebody from DCEO, Lisa Jones, was at the one congressional visit that I was at, but they're to visit them as well, since they will be in Congress through the lame duck session, and who knows what could get passed there. You know, there's a number of purposes. IDS does their dog and pony show, DCEO does theirs, as well as there's some questions asked of Congress members, their position on the 5% versus 15%. And it's something that I know that we have done on our own. Has added another consultant to work, as they call him. He has a master black belt in Lean Sigma, and he was formerly with Xerox, to work on their workshop leadership console. It's one of the added benefits, I believe, of belonging to NOB is to have that available, and they are working in quality management practices in WIB operations, which goes in line with boards of excellence. And then they're also doing a number of technology upgrades. If you can get on their website, because they have just a whole bunch of resources that are available on that website. They are asking again for input on the forum, so if you have any suggestions, you have a best practice or a program that you're very and again, as I said, I think one of their biggest efforts at NOB that blends with COSA is to build strong state associations. What Gary had talked about, Bethany's communication plan, I think not only can move us into the 21st century, but can also give us a presence that is needed, particularly in congressional offices that are run by the under 30s that tweet and Facebook and LinkedIn and all of these things. I think it's
Are there plans underway for another Heartland conference? No.
Yes, we have every intention to move forward with there being another Heartland conference. I think the first one was sort of a learning experience. It did not have the DOL participation we had in the past. But yes, we have every intention of trying to do an annual event.
Well, the reason I ask is because, you know, I tend to agree that I think maybe the boards of excellence was a little maybe maybe that part of it could be beefed up. And, you know, the sooner, again, obviously we get to save the date, the better. So,
We-
Who can plan for the spring if you don't know if you're going to be here?
well, it's true. But, I mean, I just think that, you know, those are the couple things that I would like to see is maybe a little.
Pam, I think more so than a question, had a comment or two about the fact we need boards of excellent agenda that focus strictly on that. I know that I brought my board chair, my future board chair to that, and I think they were a little disappointed that there wasn't more there. So that's a great comment and something we would.
I will say the compliance workshops that DOL did were excellent.
Have any questions?
Thank you very much, Dave, and again, thanks. Is there still a TAA work group, or should I just eliminate that from the agenda?
I think that should probably be eliminated.
Okay.
And if need be, we'll reconvene. But
Okay, thank you. And then Ann, I believe, has an update from the Website and Communications Task Force group.
Good morning. Robin is on the webinar, but I'll go ahead and give the all of our LWIAs. We're looking for success stories, all business and your customers, and we put a template out on the web. That's a vital part to the annual report. So Workforce Development Week or any activities or events that you've had in your area, send those along. We're also updating the State WorkNet Center map, and we are using the that's how we're cross-checking to make sure that the map is correct with the directory. So all this information, some of it, the templates especially, is in the members area of the IWP website, which is Team IWP is the password. So any questions? Robin, if you're on, did I forget anything?
Thank you, Ann. Or any questions?
I think Julie had a question.
Oh.
we had a really excellent planning, things like that. Can you want something like that? Because it's individual, but
yeah, we want variety
really
of pictures.
Really successful because we had a lot of support from community members to participate. So
yeah, send that along.
Okay.
And if you could just send a little description.
And we also have pictures. They did work key certification. I mean, there's the whole ball of wax. So send it. You can use what you want.
Yeah, very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, we continue to hear as part of any communication plan, really those success stories about the great programs. We just need to keep bragging about ourselves, basically, let folks know. Okay, Blanche, I believe you're next for an NWA update.
Just a short report, a reminder that we do have our conference call on Monday, 1 o'clock Central Time, and then for those of you that cannot participate, there'll be a summary of David's report, and that's sent out to everyone.
I've given her my card.
I want to first remind everybody that November 13th through 15th is the Youth Symposium. and it is in the Chicago area. It's in Rosemont this year at the Crowne Plaza. The reason being it has free airport shuttle for those from around the country that fly in, and also the room rates are a lot cheaper in Rosemont. We had over 1,000 people in attendance. A little worried because we had room to seat 800, and so they were crowded rooms as we added chairs during that time period. The next annual conference for the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals is May 19th through the 22nd, and that will be held in Minneapolis. And it is not a long driving distance except from southern Illinois probably. But Minneapolis is a good location in the Midwest and to get some support from the Midwest area. I also want to things going on here in Illinois, but rarely do we have submissions for presentations. So I would encourage you, if there's something going on that you would like to present, to please fill out their call for proposals so we can have you selected as some of the workshops that we present at the next national conference.
Okay, any questions for Barb? Okay, other webinar as well from Illinois WorkNet. So it takes a lot of people to make sure this comes across professional, and appreciate you folks who chatted with us, and hope you, if you have continued questions, we'll be here for another couple minutes. But other than that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. All in favor? Okay, safe travels, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
It takes a village to get this going.
Doesn't it?